In Lesson 5.3, you will be solving multi-step inequalities. Example 1 says, write and solve an inequality to find the sales Mrs. Jones needs if she earns a monthly salary of $2,000 plus a 10% commission on her sales. Her goal is to make at least $4,000 per month. What sales does she need to meet her goal? Well, the first thing I do is define my variable. I'm going to use S for her sales because it asks what sales does she need to meet her goal. That's what we're trying to find out, so that's going to be my variable. That's the amount in sales is going to be S. Now it says she earns a monthly salary of $2,000 plus a 10% commission of her sales. Commission is what salespeople sometimes earn in addition to their base salary. It's based on how much they sell. She's going to earn 10% of her sales. 10% as a decimal is 0.10 or 1/10, like that. 1/10 times her sales is going to be added onto her base salary of $2,000, and her goal is to make at least $4,000. If she wants to make at least $4,000, that means it needs to be greater than or equal to $4,000. I have the equal sign in there because it says at least. It means it could be 4,000 or more. Now to solve this inequality, you would want to get the variable by itself, so you would get rid of the 2,000 by subtracting 2,000 from both sides. And then we would be left with 1/10 S on the left. The inequality symbol is still the same because we just subtracted from both sides. And 2,000. Now we need to divide both sides by 1/10 to get 1S. And since we divided by a positive, we're going to go ahead and keep our inequality symbol the same. The sales need to be greater than or equal to 2,000 divided by 1/10. 2,000 divided by 1/10 is 20,000. So what sales does she need to meet her goal? She needs to make at least $20,000 in sales. You want to pause the video and try the next one on your own. It says the print shop advertises a special to print 400 flyers for less than the competition. The price includes a $3.50 setup fee. If the competition charges $35.50, what does the print shop charge for each flyer? I'm going to define my variable. I'm going to use F for the price of the flyer. The cost is a $3.50 setup fee. Plus so much for each flyer. And they're going to print 400. So it's going to be 400 times the cost for each flyer. And it's going to be less than the competition. If it's going to be less than, we're going to have that symbol. And the competition is $35.50, so we need that to be less than $35.50. Now we're going to go ahead and subtract $3.50 from both sides. $400 times the price of the flyer is going to be less than $32. And then divide both sides by 400. 32 divided by 400 is 8 cents. So the price of a flyer is going to be less than 8 cents. Now we're going to solve some inequalities that have negative coefficients. First thing we're going to do is, in this example, add 13 to both sides. So we have a negative 11y is greater than 42 plus 13 is going to be 55. Now to undo the multiplying, we're going to divide by negative 11. And since we're dividing by a negative, you need to make sure to remember to flip the inequality symbol around. So y is less than negative 5. Or the solution is all the real numbers y such that y is less than negative 5. You may want to pause the video and try the next two on your own. To get the y by itself, we first want to get rid of the plus 11 by subtracting 11 from both sides. 43 minus 11 is 32. So 32 is greater than negative 4y. Now to get the y by itself, we would divide both sides by negative 4. 32 divided by negative 4 is negative 8. Since we divided by a negative, we have to flip the inequality symbol around. And then we're going to rewrite our final answer with the variable first. So it's all real numbers y such that y is greater than negative 8. In this next example, to get the w alone, you want to first get rid of this 10. Since it's a positive 10, we're going to subtract 10 from both sides. Some people make the mistake still of adding because they see the subtraction sign, but if you were to add 10 to 10, you wouldn't get rid of it. You would end up with 20. So we don't want to add 10, we want to subtract 10 from both sides. 23 take away 10 is 13. So 13 is greater than or equal to, and then it's not just 2w, it's negative 2w because it's minus 2w, and subtracting 2w is the same thing as adding a negative 2w. Now we're going to divide both sides by negative 2. We end up with negative 6.5. We have to flip the symbol, so it's going to be a less than or equal to w. We flipped it because we divided by a negative. Now to write our final answer, all real numbers w such that w is greater than or equal to negative 6.5. Alright, our next example has you translating the sentence into an inequality and solving it. It says 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times the number plus 45. 5 minus 6 times a number. 5 minus 6 times a number, looks like that, is more than, so it's going to be is greater than, 4 times the number plus 45. 4 times the number plus 45. So there's the inequality. 5 minus 6 times a number is more than 4 times the number plus 45. Now to solve this, we have variables on both sides. So I'm going to choose to get rid of, this negative 6n by adding 6n. When you add the 6n to the other side, make sure you add it to the n's because they're like terms. Now we have 5 is greater than 10n plus 45. To get the n alone, we're going to subtract 45 from both sides. 5 take away 45 more. 5 take away 45 is negative 40. And then the last thing we'd want to do is divide by 10. This time we're dividing by a positive, so we don't need to flip the symbol. We end up with negative 4 is greater than n. So it's all real numbers n such that n is less than negative 4. Next up, we are going to solve some inequalities with distributive property. It's just like equations, you just have to remember that one step of if you multiply or divide by a negative, you flip the symbol, inequality symbol. So 4 times 3t is 12t. 4 times a negative 5 is negative 20. Plus 7, we're not going to multiply the 7 by the 4 because it's not in the parentheses. And then the other side we're going to leave just as it is for now. Over on the left side we can simplify this. We can put the negative 20 and 7 together as one term instead of two separate ones. So 12t minus 13 is greater than or equal to 8t plus 3. Now we have variables on both sides, so that would be my next step. I'm going to get rid of this 8t by subtracting 8t from both sides. 12t take away 8t is 4t. Minus 13 is greater than or equal to 3. Then add 13 to both sides. 4t is greater than or equal to 16. Then divide by 4. Divide by 4. We end up with t is greater than or equal to 4. You may want to pause the video and try the next two on your own. Distributive property first. 6 times 5z is 30z. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18, so minus 18 is less than or equal to 36z. Now, since I only have z's on this side, I would probably get rid of the 30z. We end up with a negative 18. Careful here, it's negative 18. It's less than or equal to 6z. Now we're going to divide both sides by by 6. So we get negative 3 is less than or equal to z. We do not need to flip the symbol because we divided by a positive. So our solution then is all real numbers z such that z is greater than or equal to negative 3. Next up, 2 times h is 2h plus 2 times 6, which is 12, is greater than negative 3 times 8, which is negative 24. And then negative 3 times negative h is going to be a positive 3h. Now we need to get rid of either the 2h or 3h. I'm going to get rid of the 2h by subtracting 2h from both sides. So I end up with 12 is greater than negative 24 plus h. To get h alone, I'm going to add 24 to both sides. 12 plus 24, that's going to be 36, is greater than h. So our solution is all real numbers h such that h is less than 36. All right, our very last two examples have to do with some special solutions. This first one, I'm going to go ahead and do distributive property first. The 9t is just going to come straight down. Then this is not just 5 times everything in here, but it's a negative 5 times everything in the parentheses. So negative 5t. And then negative 5 times negative 5 is plus 25. And on the other side, 4 times t is 4t. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. On the left side, I can simplify 9t minus 5t, and I get 4t plus 25 is less than or equal to 4t minus 12. Now if I subtract 4t from both sides, I end up with 25 is less than or equal to negative 12. And that is not true. 25 is not less than a negative 12. So there's nothing that's going to make this true, so the solution is the empty set. And you write it like that. Last example. Might want to try this one on your own and see what happens. 3 times 4m is 12m. 3 times 6 is 18, and it's positive 18. It's less than or equal to 42 plus 6 times 2m is 12m. And 6 times a negative 4 is negative 24. Now what's going to happen here, I'm going to simplify this side. So I'll have 12m plus 18 is less than or equal to, I can put the 42 and the negative 24 together, so 42 minus 24, that's going to be 18 plus 12m. You subtract 12m from both sides, you get 18 is less than or equal to 18. And 18 is less than or equal to 18, so it doesn't matter what you plug in here for m, you're always going to end up with something that's true, so therefore the solution is all real numbers.